Yeah, I was proud of German cars. That was the thing that we could do. You know, in the last 6 years, we were building the German cars. Everybody knew that. No question. Made in Germany. That's it.
And then we see this American company being better at it.
But the factory is actually the product.
The machine that builds the machine, yeah.
And that is, they made a German product that's gonna iterate, that's gonna get better, that's gonna build more cars, more products to come. Not a lot of countries can have this advantage and to have actually this great product.
I talked to many people, I wrote with many people, and I can tell you one thing. Most people, like over 90%, they had nothing bad to say about the workplace.
Tesla Welt wird präsentiert von Shop for Tesla. Hier gibt es nachhaltiges Zubehör für euer Auto. Ob ihr Gummimatten braucht, Schutzblenden, Jackpads oder auch Performance-Pedale. Hier werdet ihr fündig und ihr bekommt sogar noch 5% auf alle Produkte und fördert hiermit diesen Kanal. Schaut da gerne mal vorbei.
At first broke ground here and then started to building. Not 1 year like the Shanghai factory, but it took 2 years, and that's record speed in Germany. Maybe we start with you, David. What's your angle on that? Because yeah, it's amazing, right?
It was fantastic to see this. Absolutely unheard of in Germany, this Tesla speed. Nobody could actually think, like if you would ask somebody up front or before, is that possible to build a major car manufacturing plant in Germany in 2 years? No way, never. And this is really one of the biggest achievements, I think, that they scaled up within 2 years from forest to production. And now they are the biggest employer in Brandenburg. Also, this is something that is really, really profound. Brandenburg, one of the regions in Germany which are not known for great car manufacturing or great industry, whatever, they are now really on top of the game. Yeah. So this is for me two great achievements.
I think if you look back, many people underestimate the impact Tesla has on the car industry in Germany just for the past, like since the construction started. I mean, before that, it was like, okay, I get a car from Shanghai or I get a car from America back then. But now it's like Tesla is the talk of the town. You know, it's like the media is talking about it in the good times and the bad times. And there's so much attention for this one car manufacturer that I think it's unique and it has advantages and disadvantages. But just for Germany as a place, as you just said, like for Brandenburg, it's insane what they did. And to be the biggest employer there, to now take the time to understand the people, I think that's as well something that many people underestimate. It is a process for people in Germany to get used to a car manufacturer from the States coming to Germany.
Absolutely.
And as well for the local people to get used to it. Yep. And Tesla is now learning it as well. I just heard a few days ago there was business meetings. I mean, like Tesla is not used to that. They are not used to the German customer. They are not used to the fact that there are so many car manufacturers from Germany that their main business-to-business sales, that's something, I mean, we experience that at Tesla Supply, the customer service for business customers. I mean, it's crazy. The people working there, how many customers they have to take care of. I mean, that's insane. That's something where I'm not surprised this customer service is sometimes, we would say, yeah, it cannot get worse. But again, Tesla is getting used to it and there's a lot of things happening. And I think that's something that is going to get better and better over the years now in Germany.
And I think Tesla achieved something else when they came to Grünheide. And that was, I mean, the Germans here, they know that. Who is German here in the... Yeah, quite a few people. So you guys know, cars from the US, they suck. They are really not good. That's not German quality. And Tesla achieved by becoming a German-based company now this transition from an American brand to a German premium car manufacturer. And I think this is kind of the genius from the decision from Elon to have this strategy behind. We go to the biggest market in Europe and we plant our plant inside this market, inside the heart of the German car industry. And that was just brilliant, I think.
I have to link in here immediately because I think that's such an overlooked piece of the puzzle here, is that it is like that. Tesla started to market themselves as a hardcore engineering company. And that, I think, was the main thing that kind of changed the trajectory, also the success over the world. Because in Germany, we don't really accept like American cars as easy, because in the past we had those big blocks, those inefficient muscle cars. They are nice for events. I love them as well, always, and I still do, but it's still very niche. And for Germany, we like efficient cars. We like cars that don't use as much resources, because of course our gas prices are immensely high. In the US it's a different story. They fill up their tanks by gallon, 40 liters, so that's the thing. So that was a main thing, and now we see that they are now German engineers as well. They are hardcore engineers here, and that's, I think, a big factor. And I wanted to add something here, and that's the culture, the cultural differences, because this could have gone wrong pretty much, because we had remember the Daimler Chrysler fusion that we had in the early 2000s somewhere, or end of the 90s. That didn't go well because the German culture and the American culture differ in decision making, especially because they're not used to that. And now we see this learning curve happening here in Germany as well, because the culture is so different here. So yeah, we don't have this hyper capitalism here, and that's a thing that kind of is a little bit difficult for adjustment. Yeah.
And just to add to that, many people talk about the people working for Tesla. I'm just talking about the plant in Grünheide. I talk to many people, not by name, because they were not allowed to talk like openly, but I talked to many people, I wrote with many people, and I can tell you one thing. Most people, like over 90%, they had nothing bad to say about the workplace. They said, okay, you go to a company, you work there, you know about the company, you know you're going to work hard, it is a different company, and if you decide after a year, that's not my thing, I mean, that's not Tesla's mistake. We see a lot of news about this. I talk to those people. Of course, that is not everybody, but I talked to a few of them and never heard a bad word. And if people decide to leave and go somewhere else, I mean, that's fine. We all do that somewhere in life, where we decide, okay, that's not my thing anymore, or I expected something else. I might not want to work there anymore. But I mean, they built the future. They are working in the present and in the future, and that's something interesting. And they're going to impact Germany and Europe, and that's what we're going to talk about in a moment. The impact. Giga Berlin has such a huge impact on Europe, and we just talked about that outside. We always think about Germany. Talk about Portugal, Italy, Spain, France. I mean, France is going crazy right now. The government is supporting EVs. The UK market, not yet from Giga Berlin, but the entire European market, it's crazy how countries are getting now Teslas that were a few years ago not even having a few of them. And I drove 2 weeks ago through Slovenia. I mean, it's crazy how many Teslas I saw. I was so surprised about that. So I think the impact is not only for Germany. So if we have a hard time right now in Germany when it comes to sales numbers, never forget the impact from Giga Berlin for Europe. That's something many people forget about.
And
like,
absolutely. There's another thing which makes me excited about having this Gigafactory in Germany especially. It is the fact that a factory from Tesla is a product from Tesla. It's exactly like the cars, and we get always excited, you know, if we make a video about the new Model Y, people go crazy. But the factory is actually the product.
The machine that builds the machine, yeah.
And that is, they made a German product, a Gigafactory in Berlin, that's gonna iterate, that's gonna get better, that's gonna build more cars, more products to come. And that's just getting me really excited, because I think not a lot of countries can have this advantage and to have actually this great product.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to get back at the audience here again, because I think that's very important to have indications. Who is excited about the factories actually, that can raise their hand? Okay, yeah, interesting. Not everybody. I know it's niche,
Woo!
but yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Sehr good.
Okay, yeah. But the factory actually is like, the vision is to make like a matchbox car pretty fast out of the line. That's the thing they wanted to do, and that's something. Like, the German market is difficult, of course, because we have a huge car lobby here. Of course, the well-established car lobby, and that's fine. That's totally fine. That's normal. But I think it was a good decision to go to the north and not to the south, because of course South Germany has BMW in Bavaria, or near Munich. I mean, in Bavaria, and then we have also. Yeah, Wolfsburg, VW, main hub. Do you think that would be easy to set up there a factory? Probably would be a little bit difficult there. Yeah, I don't want to sound conspiratorial. It's not about that. It's just like, it's normal. They have a strong car lobby here. They are used to handling that also with politicians and everything. So I think having that in the north is such a great deal, actually.
And just to add, Elon once said, when it comes to EVs, everyone will be building EVs at some point. But when it comes to the engineering behind, that's the key factor. Not saying that nobody is going to reach that. The Chinese are doing pretty well right now when it comes to engineering as well. But this is the key point, as you said. And I think when we have this topic right now, I think we might just move to the current situation when it comes to Giga Berlin, expansion, and it comes to new products that are going to come, because, I mean, we talk about 500,000 capacity for the Model Y. We have lots of discussion about the tariffs. The US did that to the Chinese right now. There might be tariffs coming for Chinese models, the Model 3 Highland, for the German market, for example. And that's something where Tesla is unique. I'm not scared, because I know Tesla is going to do something once this tariffs comes. And if there's a company that could establish a Tesla Model 3 production line,
they will, absolutely.
Spontaneously, they might do that. And that's something Tesla is unique with. And so for the current situation.
Maybe you can, David, tell us something about, for example, what that means, because Tesla moving here, localizing here in Europe, and then in Germany, of course, if you lower the scope. But BYD is also a very important thing here to note, that they want to go to Hungary, actually. So they also want to settle here because because import tariffs. They are also scared about import tariffs. It makes sense to localize production. So maybe you can just talk something about that, or
on
BYD just settling here, and what do you think about it? I mean, what's the indication there?
The Chinese brands will come. They will build great cars. They will be very good at software. And I'm not worried about Tesla. I'm worried about the German car industry. Not because I'm a fan of the German car industry. That stopped with the diesel scandal for me. But I was before, actually. But it's just a huge economic factor in Germany. There's so many people working in this industry. If that is going to hell, that's not going to be very funny in Germany in the next couple of years. So I'm more worried about them. And I didn't drive a BYD yet, but from the outside and from the look and feel, it's already quite good. I think it's great cars.
I think to come back to the current situation, I think we are just between two waves. And I'm not saying that because Elon said that, but we are pretty much between two waves. And if we take the current situation, Giga Berlin, protests, some are more radical, some are peacefully demonstrating. I think that's the part of getting used to each other, as I said before. And I think Tesla is trying to get the communication better and better. But there are as well people that are not willing to talk. And what I like about Tesla is they are continuing to invest, topic expansion. They're going to continue to work with the local government and do everything to expand. And I think it's just a question of time when we talk about the next wave. If it's a smaller Tesla, is it a cheaper Tesla? I think that's something that Tesla will realize at some point, how important this product is for this market, for you guys, because we do like smaller cars as we concentrate right now on SUVs, but I think the main part is smaller cars for city, just going to school, kindergarten, shopping. I don't need 500 kilometers, 600 kilometers. Not everybody needs that.
Yeah.
You need like your daily car for a cheaper price. And I think that's the main part. And I'm so sure, I mean, the trees are gone.
Yeah.
I mean, expansion at some point is going to happen. And everything else, some people might say it's not correct, but everything else is just daily news noise. That's what it is for me. They're going to do their work. It's going to take time. And I think we all agree it's sometimes very frustrating to see it, that it takes so much time. Yeah. But it is just between the two waves.
And I have to add something there, because you've mentioned something that is very important here, and that's the news also and reporting on Tesla. Because we've seen so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt going around, and also in the German media. And I wanted to add something, since I'm from marketing actually, and we also, the brand that I work for, we are really deep into, also making adverts and advertising. And you have to still have that in your head while looking at the news. I'm not saying they're wrong or anything, or sometimes they are misguiding a little bit, but what the real deal is, they have customers. And those customers are from the car industry. And Tesla doesn't advertise. So this means for the popular, bigger news outlets, for example, it's common to kind of do like, okay, if we paint now Tesla and it's such a good light, that might hurt our business. So they decide to tone it down a bit, just a bit sometimes. And sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's a little bit toned down. That's what my personal experience is, or my personal opinion is about that. So, yeah. So that's what I wanted to say there, yeah. But David, you had also something? I mean,
with all the achievements, and yes, a smaller car would be great, but I'm also happy for every SUV which is built in Giga Berlin, which puts off an SUV which is consuming diesel or gas. So I think that alone is a big achievement, and that's always something that I can understand if somebody says, yeah, but they build these luxury SUVs that are too heavy and nobody needs them. Yeah, but people would buy a diesel SUV instead, so yeah, I prefer that largely. And but there's still, of course, a long way to go. Also, with the German mindset about EVs, that is not all very positive at the moment, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I think if we talk about the current situation and the future, I think we all thought at some point, or me personally, I thought at some point the past 2 years, we got it. People are now on the way to buy EVs. If I today look in the news, if I today look in the current situation for Germany, I can just speak for Germany, you have the feeling we go 2 steps back. That's the feeling you get.
Absolutely.
But again, this is showing me, if we thought that we have to educate people, tell them what an EV is, kind of get the misinformation out, educate people about the advantages, I think we are just starting. For me personally, 1 year ago, I thought, okay, it's going to go that way. People are going to educate themselves. But I think this is more present than ever.
Yeah.
That this is the hard work. I mean, the hard work is just starting for the next wave I just talked about. I mean, like everybody here sitting, having a Tesla, or even if you drive another brand, it doesn't matter. It's so important that other people that are driving gasoline cars are getting proper, fair, and honest answers about what the reality is. And this is the big, big work here. Yeah. And for me personally, one of my mistakes, because I thought in Germany, we are already over that point, and we had that a few years ago, but I think that's something, the major problem and work.
I just wanted to expand again shortly to the audience again and take the word to you a little bit and ask you, do you own an EV? Because, I mean, it's okay if you have not on one, but you're interested in one, but who owns an EV from the audience? That would interest me a lot. Yeah. Okay, so some don't, some do. They are still pretty expensive. You have to say it's not, especially in Germany. We like our cars a little bit cheaper, or the whole European market. That's why it's the compact also so interesting. So another question would be, how many of you guys would consider a compact when that's under 25,000 euros? That's something. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I see. So many families probably here where the compact is probably too small. But that's interesting, actually, to see that. Yeah, because we have the robotaxi. But yeah, going back to the question that we have.
I think we can maybe explain that a little bit more to people who are not from Germany.
Yeah.
Actually, how this feeling is, because I can just agree with you. It's we went one step forward and two steps back, and it's weird for us. Which are in this Tesla bubble.
Doing YouTube every day.
Yeah, that's really weird. And
frustrated.
Maybe we have to say this because that is astonishing to me. Tesla shrinked in Germany 9% last year. Do you know any other market where Tesla has ever made less sales than the year before? There is none. I'm sure there is none.
Yeah.
And so that is really something that we have to wrap our heads around. Why is that? What's happening in Germany, actually? It's not the talk, is maybe what's up with Giga Berlin, but
what's up with Germany?
What's up with Germany?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that's also such an interesting point and very important to note here that actually it sounds sometimes a little bit stupid. Also, when I talk about that on my channel or when I hear your channels, it's spin so, it's always Tesla positive. Yeah, but so people think, you're just Tesla fanboys and you're not critical thinkers. That's some comments that I read on your German channels especially. So, but what people kind of don't realize is, so for example, I can just speak for myself. I don't want to see the car industry collapsing because the suppliers from Austria, the suppliers from Germany, from Spain, from even the Eastern European countries are involved in that so much that I want them to succeed. But the thing that they are showing us all the time, the ID3, for example, for me personally was a little bit underwhelming to say the least. The updates, for example, were a little bit, the software problematic with Cariat was just an awful thing to see. And for me, it's personally like, I want to focus on the things that work and don't focus on the things that don't work. That's why it's a little bit one-sided or seems to be one-sided at some point. So that's just what I wanted to add here. I don't know how it is for you, but for me personally, that's the case because I would love to have a good German car industry, including Austria and the whole region, actually, Europe, yeah.
Of course, it's just my opinion and I can't tell you how it's the truth really. But from my point of view, you have to look into the German psyche to understand this issue with the EVs that they have right now. And maybe I can share a little story. A long time ago, 20 years or something, I was in Israel and I was talking to an Israeli friend. And he said, you know what, you guys, you from Germany, you are famous for three things. The Holocaust, porn movies, great porn movies, and great awesome cars. And I was thinking about that and I said, yeah, probably right, yeah. So for Holocaust was something that for the older generation, like me, is something where we couldn't be proud of Germany because there was too much suffering and killing done by the Germans. So being proud of Germany was not possible because of that. Great porn. Maybe some people can relate to that. I don't know. I wouldn't be too proud of that myself, but yes. So there was the cars left. And yeah, I was proud of German cars. That was the thing that we could do. You know, in the last 6 years, we were building the German cars. Everybody knew that. No question. Made in Germany. That's it.
Yeah, because it's so analytical. It's just like a fact, engineering.
Exactly.
ABC. And then we see this American company being better at engineering, especially in software engineering.
Not necessarily American, but it's just EVs are taking this away from the Germans. Because the German car manufacturers today can build great EVs, but they are too expensive and they consume too much energy, and the software, I'm sorry, but it's not on top of the game.
Yeah, and their system of constantly repairing your car, that's also a huge factor that they bank on, that they rely on that, and the dealership net.
And I don't think that this is something which is going on in the brain of every German, so that everybody's thinking like that. But I think on a subconscious level, I think that could play a role. And we're going to see how the next year is going to play out, but I think we are in for some heavy years.
So what do you think about that, Marian, about the way the German mentality is with that? Because I agree too with David here.
I think the main part is that we sometimes think we drive more kilometers than we are actually driving every day. I think that's the main part when it comes to EVs. You always hear, I need a car that drives 600, 700, 800 kilometers. But they are talking about these 2 times in the year when they're going in vacation. I was driving to Croatia, I make 2 breaks, and you sometimes have the feeling people don't need to go to the toilet, they don't need to eat. I mean, that's the running gag. You can do your break, you can be at a nice place, you can charge your car. If I drive 10, 12 hours into vacation, I can use an EV in most countries in Europe. I drove 2,000 kilometers back and forward to Bordeaux in France. No issue with charging. No issue. Look in the States, for example, where superchargers are the main charging network. Here in Europe, we have way more. In every little town in Croatia, you can charge. Sometimes it's a bit more difficult, but to be honest, it is about education, and that's to come back to the point. That's about the point. I'm not saying that we are perfect yet, but I think in the transition as we are, there are the companies that are doing charging. Tesla does it for themselves as well, and I think in this transition, there's just a lot of work to do. That's the point, and I think if we look into the future when it comes to Giga Berlin, to come back to Giga Berlin, I think it's out of question that Tesla will have at some point a bigger capacity than any other car maker in Germany. I think it's just a question of time. Again, this is the point where you think, I see the news every day, you might get disappointed, you might get a bit depressed, as we do YouTube videos every day. We get feedback from you guys every day, or other people that are not here thinking about buying an EV. They're not sure, should I buy right now? Are the prices going further down? Is the price war still going? Are there discounts or anything? I mean, people are not sure yet, but I think it's just for the next wave, it's very important. Giga Berlin, I think it's out of question that there will be at some point for Europe 1 million cars capacity. I think that's out of question. It's just a bit of time that Tesla needs. And I think they have realized that sometimes they need to wait a bit. They need to wait. They need to be a bit more patient. And I think that's the process Tesla is in right now. And I think we are less patient than Tesla right now, to be honest with you. I think we would like to see the expansion right now, the Highland right now, and the compact car right now. But I think Tesla is more realistic in the approach they have to do with the local government and all the formalities,
So David, what were responses on your channel, on your Tesla podcast is the most things you read? Because you also have a German audience or a German-speaking audience in the DACH region here. So Deutschland, Germany, Deutschland, Switzerland, and Austria. So what was your main response or concerns with EVs, kind of? Or what have you read something there?
With EVs in general? Or?
Yeah, generally, like with EVs. Or what? Tell it again. Was that something? Okay.
I mean, I get all sorts of comments.
Yeah.
And it depends a little bit who the audience is. And on the day-to-day work, it's mostly people who are already fans of EVs or who are interested in EVs and are mostly positive. Yeah. Sometimes if videos go outside of the bubble, then there's all this hate coming. And but I don't take it too seriously because I think it's just a good sign that a bigger audience is reached, and of course then there's more people who are against it. And I think what is interesting is the most upsetting thing is the Tesla semi-truck, the LKW, the truck,
just the semi-truck.
the 40-ton truck, class 8 heavy load truck. That gets people very excited somehow, in both directions actually. And that is, I didn't think about that, that because that is a niche market
true.
as well.
But I think to relate to that, because we talk about Germany, we talk about Giga Berlin, we talk about the struggles. I think the fun part about this is we are talking about buying an EV right now. Now, the next adjustment is everything else that comes after that. I mean, convincing somebody to buy an EV is already hard sometimes for us in Germany. I think it's changing slowly, but if you look now into the next waves, if we talk about robo-taxis, many people can't believe that this is going to happen at some point, but this is the next wave. Then smaller cars, people say it's not possible to build such cheap electric vehicles. I mean, there's so much else coming after that, and we're still so early when it comes about the product itself. And I think the main part is to get the people first into the EVs, and then everything else is going to be, without a question, something that people get excited about.
So for me, actually, I mean, you have kind of an incentive, of course, to like sell EVs, more or less, I would say, of course. But for me, it's not about selling EVs. It's not about that. For me, it's about stop you being so emotional about this topic, because of course there's job loss behind that. There's a lot of pressure behind the people that actually worked in the car industry or still work in the car industry. So I think it's about focus on hardcore engineering and compare. Just compare these, because credit where credit is due. The Porsche Taycan is a great car, but it's super expensive. Tesla aims for a different segment here. Okay, just compare everything. The suspension is great, but now we have the Model 3 Performance on the horizon that is will be here as well. And as we could see that also German suppliers actually, or German OEMs, I mean, produced in China, and the quality control issues are done. They actually, China has sometimes better quality control than in Germany, and that's interesting to note here. And how these, when you look at the specs and the car and just compare everything, that's what I want people to focus on, because that's the main issue. It's not emotional about, it's about the range, the batteries, the long lasting, how the car works.
You said outside of the bubble. And that's something to give you in context. When Tesla discounted the Model Y and made the discounts at the beginning of the year, I talked to those people later on. That is outside of the bubble. Those people are the people that bought an EV for the first time, talking about pricing. The people are not so confident yet. They have so many questions. They bought a Tesla already, but they still have so many questions. They are not sure. Okay, now software update, how does it work? I have the car for 2 weeks. Like, what's happening right now? They still have so many questions. That's outside of the bubble, and that's the best thing that can happen. Go over the pricing. I think that's something that's exciting for this year and for the next years. It's
Definitely.
It's pricing.
Yeah.
And pricing. Especially in times when we have so much inflation, right? I mean, pricing. That's the point.
And with pricing comes manufacturing. That's the main thing, because you can just cut the prices when you produce efficiently, and German OEMs sadly can't produce efficiently. The Model 3 before was already 3 times faster from the line than the ID3, for example, and that's, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so confident also about the future of Giga Berlin and other cars that they build even for the German market, because Tesla has this history of driving down the cost of production. You can read that in every earnings report. The sentence is always there: we still continue to drive down our costs, and we will continue to do so. And that's quite unique. And I think they will be able to adjust to the market conditions because of that.
Yeah, so and for the end, I would say that like we can conclude here that Giga Berlin actually was good for the region so far. Grünheide, they improved so fast. They attract a lot of great engineers there, and that's the main reason why they are here, by the way. Why should, don't go, I said don't go to please don't go to Germany. That's a bad idea. It would take as long as the airplane in Berlin, 6 years to build or 7 years to build. So please don't do it. But they did it. And also they communicated with the community all the time. And it just kind of worked. The water issue, for example, in Grünheide is also a main thing, but this is going to be, or is already resolved if you compare it to all the other resources drained there from Leak, for example, which is a lignite mine, so Braunkohle. I mean, they use 100 times more water than Tesla. Yeah,
I think we also have to take into consideration that we sometimes need to take a step back to look at the situation.
Zoom out.
And you know, last year, the EV market in Germany had an 11% growth. That was less growth than what it was expected. But there was already the cuts of the tax credits in beginning of 2023. And people still bought more EVs. So until the end of last year, there was actually growth in Germany for EVs, even though Tesla shrunk. Yeah, so it's not as bad as it might seem at the moment. Of course, the last 4 months we had crazy press in Germany. We had crazy announcements from German manufacturers who go back to hybrids, who don't want to focus 100% on EVs anymore. And that's worrying, but I think in the end of the day, the consumers, they are emotional about this, but they will always look at two things, and that is their use case and if it does fit into their life and into their budget. And I think...
and it's their decision. It's so important for me to tell, you can even drive an internal combustion engine for me. I don't care. In that sense that if that's a better car, but no, I think the EV is a better car. Just compare that, just the basis of that. So in my opinion, I mean, walking up to the car, it unlocks already with all the software features they have. I mean, this is amazing for me.
I think as you just started concluding for today for us, if we zoom out, as you just mentioned, and we might meet in 3 years here again or at a different place, I think we kind of going to laugh about the current situation. I saw yesterday in the news, and that is something just for the current situation in Germany, Giga Berlin, German car makers, the entire situation, all the discussions. I saw in China, biggest car market in the world, last week, 50% of all cars were pure electric or hybrid. Never, ever happened before. That's the biggest car market in the world. So if you're a German car maker, you're not selling hybrids or not selling electric vehicles. It is just a question of time. So I always tell to people when they are angry about EVs, when they are talking about everything that is mentioned at the moment, I always tell them, look abroad. Look abroad. VW or the German car makers, they cannot make money only with German people. It's not working. It's not working. So I think it's just a question of time. We have to be patient. Just going to say again, we are, I think, the most impatient people. We would like to have the change much faster, but I think it's going to happen. Many people today here. So
talking about that, what are they going to build next in Giga Berlin?
So for me, it's obvious that, I mean, they presented something, Tesla presented us a very nice nugget in the last video we've seen about the voting of if Elon Musk should get his compensation pack. And in a video there was, let's say, a bumper shown, a small bumper. That was actually the robo-taxi, and that's something that is really amazing, and that needs to be manufactured somewhere. And if that genie is out of the bottle, there's no stopping anything. The fact that Tesla actually pulled this before the compact car means something. Why did they do that? Why didn't they just put a steering wheel in that and just call it a day? Because I think what we will see is a robotaxi in the US, because legislation is way easier to do there because everything is kind of allowed by default. But then you have to, you still have to get approvals, but it's different there. And here is very difficult, but we had the decision from the UNECED or something. Sorry, I might mix that up. But so they give a framework for legislation just as a blueprint. And this can be now implemented into the European Union as well. So this will take some time, but we will have the robotaxi here as well. And before that, my theory is they're going to produce a combat car with a steering wheel in Germany. That's my...
So again, patience. We all need patience.
All right.
Yeah. My guess would be that the robotaxi is not coming yet to Germany.
No.
But I think there's a huge potential for actually the Tesla semi-truck.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that might come. And I think as well that we will see more energy storage, not necessarily just in Germany, because for that it could even make sense to build a plant in France or on top of Berlin. And of course, the next big thing is also battery production. Yeah, that is something that Tesla already planned. They already have the permissions to do that, and they already started making parts for batteries that are going to the US right now. And but battery production is going to come, and that is a big deal for Germany.
Actually, I talked to somebody who's working there, and I can tell you that the battery factory in Germany, they could start any moment they want, any moment. They're just doing it right now because of the money and the Biden administration and the discounts in the US. They're doing it for the US. But they could start any time. They have everything ready. So it's just a question of time when they say, we go. So battery factory, it's going to be, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. The building is ready. They could start any time.
And my theory is, why do you need so many batteries? Probably for car production at scale for the European market, or for, megapacks could also be one option. But I think, to me, it's the first one. So I think we're going to see more and more volume coming from Europe, more and more also different models coming from Europe. And this will be very important, especially when they start with their game of import taxing everywhere and trying to stop China. But it's just a calculation thing. China is growing and growing, and that's, you cannot stop this floodgate. It's going to happen anyway. So but you can try, but that's why every company tries to localize production now, and that's the main thing here happening. So I would say that was it for this talk. So thank you very much, David and Marian, for doing this, and thank you all for listening and staying here in that.
Thank you.
Sometimes it's a little boring topic for some people, but I'm glad that we reach so many people here. So thank you very much for being here. And please follow Tesla Welt, of course, on YouTube as well.
Falls ihr diesen Kanal unterstützen wollt, dann schaut mal bei Shop for Tesla rein. Ihr bekommt 5% Rabatt auf jetzt alle Produkte und ihr tragt mit eurem Kauf auch dazu bei, dass ich weiter diese Videos machen kann. Diese Sendung wurde freundlicherweise vom Tesla Owners Club Helvetia in der Schweiz und dem TFF, dem Tesla Fahrer und Freunde e.V. unterstützt.